Hello, today we're going to do square roots. First thing is that to be able to work with square roots, you need to know two things. First thing is, what are perfect square numbers? These are your perfect square numbers: 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, and so on. And how do you get those numbers? 2 to the power of 2 is 4, 3 to the power of 2 is 9, 4 to the power of 2 is 16, and so on. That's the first thing you need to know. These perfect square numbers are very important to be able to work with square roots. Second thing you need to know, what is the question here when you have, for example, square root of 81? What's the question here? The question is, what number to the power of 2 is equal to 81? So as you can see here, 9 to the power of 2 is equal to 81. So your answer is 9. Same thing with 49. If you have the square root of 49, the question is, what number to the power of 2 is 49? And if we go to the list of perfect square numbers, here's 49, and the number that to the power of 2 is 49 is 7. 7 squared is 49. So our answer will be 7. But what happens if the number that you have under the square root is not a perfect square number? 20 is not a perfect square number. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to split this into two numbers where one of your numbers must be a perfect square number. For example, 20 is 4 times 5, right? And here's your perfect square number. 4 is a perfect square number. Now I'm going to split this into single square roots for each. And now square root of 4 is 2. And square root of 5, we're just going to write it as square root of 5 because I cannot write 5 as two numbers where one of those numbers is a perfect square number. So your answer would be 2 square root of 5. Let's say square root of 27. Again, we're going to find factors of 27 where one of those factors is a perfect square number. So 9 times 3. 9 is your perfect square number. So single square roots, and square root of 9 is 3, and square root of 3 is just square root of 3. So this is your answer. For 200, 200 is 100 times 2, right? And 100 is your perfect square number. So single square roots for each: square root of 100, square root of 2, square root of 100 is 10, and square root of 2 is just 2. It's just square root of 2. So this would be 10 square root of 2. What happens if you have variables or letters? You're going to do exactly the same thing. The question here is let's say what's letter to the power of 2 is x squared. Well, that's just x, right? X. So here on the next one, what we're going to do is the same thing we were doing with numbers. We are going to write factors of x to the power of 3 where one of those factors is, let's say, a perfect square letter. So this would be x to the power of 2 times x, because 2 plus 1 would be the 3 that I have here. So now single square roots for each: x squared times square root of x. Square root of x squared is x, and square root of x, I just need to write it as square root of x, just like I did with numbers, for example, with square root of 2. So that's my answer. Let's see this one. We are going to do perfect square letters for x until we get to 4. So that would be x squared and x squared. Here I have the 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. That's property of exponents. Same base, you need to keep the base and add exponents. And for y to the power of 5, we're going to do y to the power of 2 until we get to 5. Here I have 2 plus 1 will be 5. So now single square roots for each. Of course, you can skip this step as long as you know what you're doing. Okay, square root of x squared, x. Square root of x squared, x. Square root of y squared, y. Square root of y squared, y. And square root of y is just square root of y. And what do I have here? X times x, which is x squared. Then I have y times y, which is y squared. And then just square root of y. So that would be your final answer. Let's combine now numbers and letters. So 40 is not a perfect square number, so we're going to do factors of 40 where one of those factors is a perfect square number. That would be 4 times 10. 4 is your perfect square number. So now with the letters, we're going to do powers of 2. A squared, okay, that's it. For b to the power of 3, I have b to the power of 2 times b. Here, 2 and 1, that makes this 3. Single square roots for each. Square root of 4, square root of 10, square root of a squared, square root of square root of b squared, and square root of b. So square root of 4, 2. Square root of 10, I cannot break that up into two factors where one of those factors is a perfect square number, so I just leave it as square root of 10. Square root of a squared is a, square root of b squared is b, and square root of b, I just write it as square root of b. Now I have my answer here, but I'm going to write it so that the last thing that I'm going to write is everything that is under the square root. And before the square root, I'm going to write first numbers. So there's my 2. Then variables or letters in alphabetical order. So A, B. And now I'm going to put everything under one square root, writing first numbers and then letters. And that is my final answer for problem number 4. I hope you like this video.